Welcome back. The parents and sister of murdered Labour MP Jo Cox have just made an emotional appearance at a growing memorial in Bristol, the site of her brutal murder. They read many messages that were left by the community in flowers for the 41-year-old who was killed on Thursday. Now, Jo's sister Kim also spoke on behalf of the family. Take a listen.
Thank you. This is unbelievable, and we all appreciate this massively, as does Brendan, who isn't here today. He's looking after the children. Yeah, it's amazing. Proper Yorkshire people. Absolutely beautiful. So, it's not going to be easy. There are some things in life you should never have to do. Last night, I had to go and identify my sister's body. Yes, this was Jo Cox MP, and she was many things to many people in her too short life. But she was my sister, my only sibling, my parents' firstborn child, a wife and a mum. This is a very surreal situation. My parents and my partner and I are quite private people, and Jo, in true character, had fully respected our wish to remain out of the public eye. But I could not continue to watch the overwhelming outpouring of genuine grief, sympathy and love that there has been since this horrendous incident occurred without speaking on behalf of Jo's family. We want to say a most sincere and heartfelt thank you to everyone who has expressed their love and affection for Jo and sent their thoughts and sympathy to us. It has genuinely made a difference and helped us through some dark times in the last 48 hours. We would particularly like to thank the police and emergency services who have been outstanding in the care they have provided to Jo and ourselves. Absolutely outstanding. We'd also like to thank the brave and courageous gentleman, Bernard Kenny, who tried to help her in her hour of need. Our thoughts and thanks go to him and his family, and we wish him well in his recovery. What an amazing man. Jo's team of staff, both here and in London, have been a source of support and strength to her since she was elected, and she loved them dearly. I would particularly like to pay tribute to Sandra and Fazila, who were with her on Thursday. Two of the most wonderful women you could hope to meet. From a very young age, all Jo ever wanted was for everyone to be happy. We were brought up to see the positive in everything and everyone, and have endeavoured to do so all our lives. Our parents instilled in us a real glass-half-full mentality. And whilst I sometimes tend to add a large measure of Yorkshire cynicism to this, Jo generally did not. She only saw the good. We know that there are some evil people in this world, but there are an awful lot of good people too. When Jo would get abuse on Facebook or Twitter, we would talk and sometimes cry together. But she would still focus on the positive and talk about the silent majority who didn't always shout the loudest, but who she knew were in her corner. I am somewhat embarrassed to say that I was at times part of that silent majority. I don't do social media and would shout at the TV or get upset at home instead. But over the past 48 hours, people have not been silent. They have been vocal and passionate and have spoken from the heart with genuine emotion and no hidden agendas. Jo would have loved it. We have to continue this strength and solidarity in the days, months and years to come. As part of Jo's legacy. And to focus on, as Jo would say, that which unites us and not which divides us. For now, our family is broken. over time. And we will never let Jo leave our lives. She will live on through all the good people in the world. Through Brendan, through us, and through her truly wonderful children, who will always know what an utterly amazing woman their mother was. She was a human being, and she was perfect. Thank you.
She was perfect. Those words by Kim, the sister of Jo Cox, who was brutally murdered just a few days ago. The family didn't take any questions. Jo's husband, Brendan, remained at home with the couple's 2 small children. Richard Quest is also at that memorial site. Richard, given the circumstances, the family really did seem remarkably in good spirits.
Yes, and not only that, but can I say, Jo Cox's husband, Brendan, who's with the children down in southern England, he has just obviously heard what his sister-in-law has said, and Brendan Cox has tweeted, "Very proud of my sister-in-law Kim, who spoke on behalf of us all and did her sister proud. Hashtag more in common." And I think that what we have seen today, you know, yesterday, Lynda, we saw official Britain turn up in a very structured way and pay their respects by laying flowers, the Prime Minister and major political leaders. Today, and what you can see behind me, is the real Yorkshire. This is the people who will come here. They will be with their friends and their family, because if there is one word that epitomizes what we are seeing besides grief, it is community. Small Yorkshire, salt of the earth, absolutely rock-solid place, true grit, if you like, of this part of northern England. And what we've witnessed in the last hour as we've been seeing these pictures is true community. And again, Lynda, I do need to emphasize, you know, this is not a question of the media intruding. It is quite clear that we are here, we have been placed here, the family knew we were here, and the family have chosen to be amongst us as they've met their friends and their neighbours and their community.
Absolutely, and as Jo's sister said, they really have been overwhelmed by that community support, and it really has lifted them up in their darkest moments of grief. Just regards to that tweet that you mentioned by Brendan, the husband of Jo Cox, that hashtag more in common, it sounds like the family, they obviously do see the glass half full. They're a very positive family, and they're trying to see the best in people at a time when we're witnessing the first murder of a politician in the UK since 1990.
Yes, and before 1990, you have to go back to the 1980s before you'll see anything similar. That was Ari Neve, who was literally blown up by a car bomb in the House of Commons. So the number and the incidence of MPs who are attacked. We have had some attacks against MPs, some stabbings in the last 5 or 10 years, which has raised the question of whether MPs are given enough basic level security. But there are 650 of them, and you know, Lynda, as you'll know, same from Australia. If there is one thing that members of Parliament pride more than anything else, it is their ability to be amongst the people, their ability to hear constituents' complaints. In some ways, the ability to be shouted at, to be berated, to be heckled as you go around the supermarket. That's what they came into politics for. And Jo was a classic example of that, Jo Cox, from everything I've heard. Her surgeries, her regular meetings with constituents held in the local library, where she was murdered just outside, just about 100 yards from where I'm standing. 100 yards or so from the place which has turned into a memorial.
Absolutely. These politicians, as you say, same in Australia, they want to be among the people. And as we've seen over the past few months, this Brexit debate has brought out a lot of passion, but also some nastiness on both sides of politics. And for now, the campaigns have been suspended.
It has. But nobody should be fooled that it has been suspended for long. There are two or three events that will now take place. We believe that some form of campaigning on a national level will begin again on Sunday. And, you know, for good reason. The United Kingdom, the voters, the people here, Jo's constituents, are next Thursday going to be asked to cast a vote in what probably will be the single most significant vote that anybody will cast in their lifetime in terms of politics. And the feelings are exceptionally raw and are very, very angry on both sides. Now, having said that, there is pretty much unanimity on the idea that post this murder, the tone of public debate has to change. No longer is it acceptable to call your opponent a liar, a hypocrite, a cheat, a fraud, all the sort of phrases that frankly have been bandied around. And from what I'm hearing, anybody who goes into the campaigns as they start again with a mentality of take no prisoners is going to find the backlash of the public very real and very severe. Now, to the wider question, does this have an effect on the referendum? There is only one answer. No one can say. It's not even in the realms of possibility at this point to quantify it into the result.
Absolutely, Richard. We will have to wait and see how the campaigning plays out over the coming days before that referendum. Richard Quest at the Memorial for us in Bristol. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And that was a memorial service, the first time we saw the family of Jo Cox, the Labor MP who was brutally stabbed and shot to death. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with a full half-hour edition of Newsroom in just a moment.